Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. This video is very personal to me because Superman is very personal to me. You will hear so many people telling you that Superman is not relevant, and that's why every film since Superman the movie hasn't really had the effect. You know, Superman the movie was a pop culture icon and is a pop culture icon about a pop culture icon. Nothing like that has ever happened since. Nobody has ever hit the jackpot like that. And we're not just talking about box office here. So why did Superman the movie work and all the rest of the films didn't resonate with the audience and become so iconic like that one? Now, Superman 2 is a very good film, but Superman 2 was supposed to be directed by Richard Donner and written by Tom Mankiewicz, as the first one was. This was a great team, a director and a writer who totally understood this character and how this character should be introduced to the mythos in the late 70s, and it worked. Richard Donner and Tom Mankiewicz had planned to make another 4 Superman movies. By then, we would have been maybe at the end of the 80s, mid-90s, and then somebody else could have taken it over in terms of taking it over from Christopher Reeve and then taking it over from Richard Donner or Tom Mankiewicz. But Dick and Tom could have introduced another actor and started, carrying on that world. It could have gone on and on and on, right into like 99 or 2000. And then the Superman live-action franchise will be in a stronger position now. Do you understand me? By removing Richard Donner after Superman the movie, the Salkinds not only did themselves a disservice, they did Superman a disservice. And nobody's ever understood how to make a great Superman movie and when I say great Superman movie, it's not like Superman 2 and Superman 3 are not entertaining movies and don't work. Superman 4, I can watch and enjoy it, but I know that Superman 4 is a betrayal to Superman fans, and especially to Christopher Reeve, who came back because he wanted to reignite the franchise, and I still feel really bad for him, even though he's no longer with us anymore. And then, so you leave the original franchise and you go to something like Superman Returns. Look, Superman Returns will always have a special place in my heart. During the marketing and the hype for that film, I was so excited to be getting Superman again after 19 years away from the silver screen. It was very exciting. But Singer's motivations for making this film was because he was obsessed with Superman the movie. So he decided to make a sequel to Superman 2. Now, on this premise, he failed because Superman Returns doesn't feel like a sequel to Superman 2. The Daily Planet doesn't look nothing like the Daily Planet in Donner's movie and in that franchise. Metropolis looks nothing like Metropolis. It's very stylized. And that's great if you're making a fresh movie. As critics said at the time, this movie doesn't know if it's a sequel or a reboot. And that was the problem. And this is why this movie fell down. And then cutting out the Return to Krypton sequence was a huge mistake, because that sequence it propels the narrative that Superman's been away for 5 years, why Superman's been away for 5 years, the emotion of going back to Krypton because he was lied to by a scientist, because Lex Luthor told the scientist to lie to him to get Superman out of the way so he could get out of prison without Superman being a witness on his trial. That was all in the novelization of that film, and they didn't do it, or they cut it out. So the film I like is a special place in my heart. I think Brandon Routh is a great Superman, and Singer blaming Routh for the failure of the movie is ridiculous, and some of his excuses ever since have been mystifying for me. But I have respect for Singer as a director, not a person, for obvious reasons, for what he did with X-Men, but he should never have left the X-Men franchise because he didn't have a clue here, right? Even though I enjoy the movie, and visually at times it's really good, but at times it's not. So this movie failed. People felt there wasn't enough action, it didn't have life about it. Basically, the world had moved on from Richard Donner's 1978 movie. we'll go back and watch that glorious movie, but we don't want another one of it. That doesn't mean we don't want a Superman movie with charm, where Superman's pure-hearted, but it has to redefine who Superman is today. So Zack Snyder and David Goyer and Christopher Nolan attempted to do this with Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. I love Henry Cavill, but at the end of the day, they went at Superman in totally the wrong way. The public were never, and I'm talking about the mainstream public and die-hard and hardcore Superman fans, were never going to go for this version of Superman. Personally, I have no issue of losing the red shorts. That's not a problem to me. The suit is glorious. It is a little bit too dark for many people's liking, but this is a very moody Superman. This is Superman Begins, but he's a very moody Superman. He's not the Superman that many people remember. And again, not a huge issue for me, but if you want everyone to embrace this character, then you have to take him as people see him. And this was the problem with Man of Steel. The action was beautiful. The film's choreography was beautiful. The whole thing. It's a beautiful movie, and I love it. That's not the issue. The issue is here that people don't see that character. And, you know, it gets even worse with Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice, because he's even darker and even moodier, and he's not very happy in that film. And this, and I love Batman versus Superman as well, before people get into me. That's not the point here. This is not how you do Superman. And so we get to Justice League, we barely see Superman. And so everyone blames Superman. After Justice League, everyone blames Superman for the failure of Justice League at the studio. Instead of trying to reinvent him, you either make the decision to move away from Henry and cast somebody else, or you bring back Henry and you do something with him that's fair. It's problematic now, because you can't just have a dark, gritty, moody Superman and bring back the same actor and say, hey, it's me now, I'm Superman, and I'm going to be the Superman that you wanted me to be. That's what they tried to do with Justice League. How can you automatically go from one thing to the other? Superman was done dirty in Justice League because he was barely in it. How can you have a Justice League without Superman? You do not do a rebirth story and a death of Superman story and try and, you know, conclude that story in a Justice League movie. But that's not even that, because Zack's plan was to conclude the story in Justice League 2 and 3. So he was never going to get his movie, his second movie again. He got BVS right, and I understand that. But the representation wasn't the representation that people wanted. And ultimately, it is about fans. Now, I know the Snyderverse fans believe that this is a great version of Superman. And I like the films. But there's a reason why people didn't like those films to the extent that they should have done. Man of Steel made $650 million. And the reason it didn't make $1 billion was for obvious reasons, because of the representation of Superman. Batman versus Superman should have made $2 billion, but it didn't, because it was a film that some people enjoyed and some people didn't. So the problem is with all these films of Superman after Superman the movie, and the reason they didn't capture the public's imagination, and it wasn't another pop icon about a pop icon, a pop culture icon about a pop culture icon, is because they didn't capture how people see Superman. There's different comics now. There's Superman 01. There's different versions of Superman. And I understand that. You can't make Superman the movie again. You can't. I've heard directors say, I would go the Richard Donner way, blah, blah, blah. So there's ways of doing that, but you have to re-modernize the character. You have to understand that even though Superman is an alien, he's an alien who was literally been on Earth since he was a baby, brought up by the Kents. His mannerisms, his mentality is human. He's not human, but his feelings are human. It's like me. I was born in the UK, but my parents were Greek Cypriots. So I understood the language and things like that. But in my head, the voice in my head was always English. Do you understand? And this is why I always kind of related to Superman. So in Snyder's case, Superman feels more alien than human. And again, not a big issue for me because I just loved seeing it visually, but that was the issue with it, and that's why the public didn't embrace that version. And with Superman Returns, people didn't really know what they were watching. So that was the problem, because the youth didn't want to see a sequel to a movie back in 1980. But if you did it effectively and you did comics and stuff like that, it could have worked. That continuation could have worked. But Singer went about it the wrong way. So now really I want to talk about, because we're not talking about the TV shows, because Smallville and Superman and Lois have been very successful. That proves if you've got a good take on Superman, Superman is relatable. That busts the thing that accuses Superman of being boring and unrelatable. So now we're going to talk about how do we make a relevant, relatable Superman movie. And this is the difficult element of it, because a lot of people now have different ideas of who Superman should be. Christopher Reeve, Brandon Routh, Henry Cavill. Well, you've just, for me personally now, to make an effective Superman movie, you either have to change the character and say, oh, it's Flashpoint, this is why this is a different version of the character, or you start again with a brand new actor. I think the guy, and we were talking about this actually, who's playing Elvis Presley, and I forgot his name, would make a great Superman, right? But anyway, you can either bring Cavill back and say he's had a rebirth because of Flashpoint. You can kind of start again there, or, you know, you start with a brand new actor. Then the question will be, do we do the origin? Now, we know the Batman kind of didn't do the origin, and no one had any complaints, and they mentioned the murder of the Waynes in the film without having going back to that, because the popular myth is we don't want to see the Waynes killed again. Now, personally, I love seeing the Waynes getting killed, but ultimately, I don't think anyone's going to do that sequence in Crime Alley as much justice as Zack Snyder did. But here's the thing. Do you go back to Krypton? Do you tell that story? Do you begin in Smallville and then have him? Maybe you can even start the film when the Fortress of Solitude is getting built. When he goes in there, he's taught about his history, and you move on. Or you can just absolutely just do the latest adventure where he's faced, you know, he's facing issues, he's got a challenge, and he's Superman, and you don't do the origin story. I think it's time to, because let's just say I'm an elite filmmaker, which I'm not, right? I have to look at what the public want, as well as my vision. And so I think I would make the decision not to bother with doing the Krypton stuff, but the Krypton stuff would be involved maybe in a sequel. So he would just be there working in the Daily Planet as Clark Kent with Lois Lane. You introduce them and what you do. So we look at Superman as a modern day character. How do we make him relevant? Now, I've always had this line in my head that some thug is trying to shoot him, and Superman turns around and says, where have you been? The Phantom Zone? In other words, isn't it well known that I'm bulletproof? Why the hell are you shooting me for? So these are the kind of gags you can have Superman saying. They're funny, and there's kind of some relevance in it because people are going to laugh, because it's one of those jokes that everyone can laugh at. Why? It's like when the guy in Superman Returns is shooting him and shoots him in the eye. It looks great, but shouldn't he know that Superman's bulletproof? Now, it's all right in that alley in Superman the movie when Clark and Lois are being mugged, because that guy doesn't actually know that he's Superman, because Superman hasn't been introduced yet. So that's a different case in point. Do you get me? And so my idea really is an analysis of Superman's no-kill policy, which I think would be very, very relevant. That's why one of my best graphic novels is Superman versus the Elite, and the adaptation in animation of that story is beautiful, especially the finale when Superman pretends he's going to start killing Manchester Black and the Elite, and he doesn't really, and he says, I'll never kill. And I can't even remember the dialogue, but go and watch that film, go and read that graphic novel. When I finished watching it, I cried, because I thought, this sums up who Superman is. And also, doing this via a film can actually say to the audience, this is why I don't kill. Yes, I could kill them so they don't come back and do more damage. But it's as Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne says in BVS. You know, it doesn't matter how many criminals you deal with, they're like weeds. Another one will grow in their place. So killing Manchester Black saying if you kill them, they're not a problem. No, but another one will take their place. So I think doing a Superman movie that examines the no-kill policy, but having fun with the movie at the same time, would be very important. And so my idea would be that Superman, Clark Kent, is working in the Daily Planet with Lois Lane with John Corbin. Now, if you know your stuff, you know that John Corbin actually becomes Metallo. So in this story, he works with Lois and Clark in the Daily Planet and they're friends and everything's okay. Something happens to him, he has an accident, and basically Luthor gets him and makes him Metallo. He puts a chip in his brain, so he's got no free will. He becomes Metallo. But then Manchester Black and the Elite turn up and they put pressure on Superman publicly to kill Metallo. This is very difficult for Superman because of his no-kill policy, but especially because John Corbin was his friend and he doesn't want to kill him. We then get flashbacks to Superman being in the Second World War and being under pressure to kill the Nazis and Adolf Hitler. And Superman says no, because if I take your side and I kill them, then why shouldn't I do the same to you? I cannot take sides in this war. I can help each side when they're injured. I can try and be a force for good and inspiration, but I cannot hurt them just like I can't hurt you. So what happens is the governments around the world start to put pressure on Superman in this flashback to kill Hitler. So what that is a reflection of the pressure he's under in the modern day with John Corbin and Metallo. And that's the kind of story I will be doing. I will be doing a very grounded Superman story. And as I say, assessing and analysing his no-kill policy. By doing this and getting to the end of the movie and Superman on the surface showing that he is willing to kill, but he's not. And then he does this big speech why he will never kill. It will be very emotional. I think it will be a great movie. And by having the flashback in the Second World War, we could have Superman's original costume. If I was making a Superman film, we would have comic accurate costumes. They wouldn't be my designs. They would be the designs of a comic book designer. I may even get a comic book artist to design an original brand new suit. That stops the argument. And I would implore this artist to try and find a way to bring the red trunks back. Not because it's something that I need personally, but it's something I know most of the hardcore fans would want. One of my inspirations would be for making this film is to please the fans, but also the mainstream audience. This film would be bright in colour, the costume would be bright, there would be humour, but as I've explained to you, there would be a very deep-rooted narrative in this movie exploring Superman's no-kill policy. And we would remodernise him, it would be an exciting film, there'd be action in it, but this narrative would be embedded within the movie, and this would be Superman's first film. And in the end of the film, you can have a post-credit scene teasing Brainiac or whoever you want to do. Maybe in my story, I'll even have a twist in the post-credit scene that Krypton still exists or something like that. And then this would shock everyone. This would be a bit controversial, of course, and might upset people, or even tease that Brainiac's skullship is coming towards Earth. That would be even maybe a better tease. But this is the kind of thing that I would do. I passionately believe that Superman is relevant and will always be relevant as long as you represent him properly. Jesus Christ, Zorro, Flash Gordon could all be relevant today if the right people were put in charge in executing a film or a live action series. I fell in love with Superman when I watched Superman the movie directed by Richard Donner when I was a 10-year-old boy, and I haven't stopped loving that character. And I believe Superman can be made relevant if the right people who care enough about him are involved in making a film about him. If the Batman wasn't made by Matt Reeves, we wouldn't be talking about a successful, wonderful film right now. Matt Reeves cares about this character deeply, and he did something that's personal to him, but not just personal to him, but personal to the audience and the hardcore stand. Bryan Singer famously, when making Superman, said, "All I can do is make a film that's personal to me," and this is where he was wrong. He needed to make a film like Matt Reeves that was personal to him and the audience. This has been Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss this perfection. And I'll see you later when I'll be live. Until then, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. See you again soon.